my name's Maureen Doherty, and this will be my artist talk. This is a self-portrait I did in about 3 years ago. This was the beginning of these sort of monstrous or abstract figures. I use the word abstract as in they're an abstracted version of a reality that's true. This one was dealing with the power of sight, as the title suggests, and sort of who has access to seeing certain narratives and who has access to controlling those, maybe talking a little bit about media or news. This one's kind of along a similar vein. I was talking about, the title is The Gatekeeper of History, and it's dealing with this, if we think of history as a graveyard or a ghost land, and it's all of these different lives that have happened that we can draw from, but very certain selective narratives get pulled and are allowed to come to the light. I'm also majoring in art history as well as art studio, and that kind of plays a big role into what I deal with. So this one is kind of riffing off a little bit of Turner's Slave Ship, but instead of a enslavement, we're talking about aliens and these forms, these like extraterrestrial, super powerful, super technologically advanced beings that come down and kind of bully or destroy societies that they inhabit. So I think that's a really good example of that decontextualizing ideas that I had before. I use the water a lot in my artwork. I really am alert to the kind of shifting, free-floating, thin, vaporous nature of water. And it's a little unexpected, it's a little odd. It's always this clashing, moving, joining forces, combative thing. It's never still, and it's always a little aggressive. And there's always an aspect of maybe restraint or web-like forms whenever water and light kind of play together. I grew up as a swimmer, and then I started as a lifeguard, and I've taught swim for a number of years. And I think just being around water and being familiar with the element sort of comes out in my artwork quite a bit. These floating islands also come out quite a lot. As well as these like circular, monolithic forms. I kind of think of them almost as like a Stonehenge. I really enjoy working with very thin layers of paint. I like a artwork to be able to read as every single step of the process. I think it's important to kind of wear history on your face, show growth and progression through these different layers, but also it's a accurate representation of the history. I also really like these, maybe the idea of a safe space or quiet space. This escapist, fantastical, natural landscapes that pop up a lot in my artwork. I think that as Americans in particular, we cling very dearly to this idea of freedom. And these spaces, no space is ever truly free, especially in America. So we have this promise or this allure of this national freedom, but it's very poorly defined and it's not entirely helpful. So I kind of poke fun of the idea by making these very abstract, very truly free spaces because they don't exist. And the only space that's free of restraint is one that you've created yourself.